Hello BookTube, hello friends, welcome to LizziefayeLovesBooks. I'm Elizabeth, and today is February the 1st, 2023, and I am excited to share with you what I plan to read in the month of February. So there are several really fun things going on in February. One, of course, is the Little House Readathon, which is hosted by myself, and I have a couple of co-hosts, Naomi from Naomi's Bookshelf and Lindsey from Lindsey Reads. Check out our announcement videos if you have not already. That takes place on February 7th through the 10th. It's just a 4-day readathon, but as usual, the things that I have picked are probably going to take me more than 4 days to read, but I do plan to listen to several audiobooks during that 4-day period that are by, about, or related to Laura Ingalls Wilder, and then I have a couple of print books that will probably take me longer, and so I want to show you those. And then there is the Retro Romance Readathon that is hosted by Storm from Storm Reads and Sarah, the Bookish Knitter, and I have some audiobooks I want to listen to for that, and I have one print book that if I can get to it, I will. It might be a buddy read. I don't know. We mentioned it briefly, but I'm not sure if that will pan out this month or not, but either way is fine. So then I have my regular reading challenges that I've been working on, projects and things I've been working on for a while, as well as some other challenges in particular that I'm working on right now. So let's just get started. So if you recall from my goals video, I said that I was not going to read more than 3 books in print at any given time. Now, I did break that rule already in January. There was a short period of time where I was reading 4 books at once, and I may break that again this month, but it's fine. I'm still being very conscious to not plan more than I think I can realistically do without putting a lot of pressure on myself. And just the fact that knowing that I'm, not setting my goals super high already has given me a more relaxed and calm feeling about my reading goals for the month, where I just feel like, hey, I'm going to enjoy whatever I read, and I'm just going to just coast along and not stress out about it. I mean, to an extent, I am still very goal-oriented, and I plan to finish the books that I want to read, but I'm just not going to let myself get stressed out. So, because what's the point of that? All right, so let me get my book here, and let's talk about, I guess we can talk about the readathons first, and then I'll go into the other challenges and things that I'm doing. I also want to draw from my TBR jars. In fact, that's the only question marks I have right now. I have some space here. I have 2 boxes of books that I was loading up with what I'm planning to read, and then those will get transferred to my cart. Right now in my cart is everything I read in January, and then I'll switch those out. I'll pull all the January stuff in here and do a wrap-up video, hopefully tomorrow or at some point this week. But right now I've got 2 boxes of books that I plan to read, and there's still some space for the books that I'm going to draw out of my TBR jar. So I'm excited about the question marks of what that's going to be. It's kind of exciting. All right, so for the Retro Romance Readathon, I said last year that I was going to try to read or listen to one of the Debbie Maycomber romance series, like one of her classic series. I did not get it done in February, but I did get it done later in the year, and that was the Heart of Texas series. It's a 6-book series, or maybe an 8-book series. I don't even remember now. But anyway, I got them all done. So this year, I thought I would try the Navy series. And I thought there was only 4, but there is 6. It just so happens that I found the first 4 in physical form at a very recent library sale that I went to. So I definitely want to get to these. So last month at this time, I had several Hoopla borrows that I wanted to use before the last day of December, and so I ended up drawing out of my TBR jars off camera because I wasn't ready to film a TBR video. This time I only had 4 Hoopla borrows left, at the end of January. So I went ahead and just borrowed these 4. So I will probably go ahead and listen to these before the Little House Readathon, which starts on the 7th. And that way I'll get these done. And probably now I can draw my TBR draws on camera because I didn't need to get it done ahead of time. I only had 4 Hoopla bars to use up, and I got those done. If you want to know the titles of these, I think the order is Navy Bride. These might be exactly backwards, but I'm going to go with it. Navy Blues, Navy Brat, and Navy Woman. But anyway, there's 6 in the series, and these are nicer, newer editions, but I believe that these were originally published in, this one says 1988, so that definitely counts for the Retro Romance Readathon. Then the other one I have that I might possibly read later on in the month is a Regency romance. This is A Match for Melissa. It's by Catherine Kirkwood, who is Joanne Fluke. I have mentioned this before. This is one of the Regency romances that is supposedly written by Hannah Swenson's mother, Dolores. Hannah Swenson is a fictional character. She's the main character of Joanne Fluke's Baking Mysteries, and her mother, Dolores, in the books, is a Regency romance writer. So there's maybe 4 or 5 of these Regency romance books written under the name Catherine Kirkwood, which is supposed to be Dolores's pen name, but these are actually written by Joanne Fluke. Anyway, I had a duplicate copy of this, and I sent it to my friend Tiffany from the Beach Bum Bookworm, because we have both been reading the Joanne Fluke, Hannah Swenson books since the beginning, and I didn't know if she might want to read this or not, and she suggested that we perhaps buddy read it during the Retro Romance Readathon. So, Tiffany, if you're watching this and you still want to read it, I might have to put it off till nearer the end of the month, but I'm still up for it. And then for the Little House Readathon, I already kind of shared some of this in my announcement video, but our group read is The Long Winter by Laura Ingalls Wilder, which is book 6. Now, I read all of these when I was a kid, and I think I have only reread the first 4 on audio when my kids were young. I remember listening to them in my car, and our library only had the first 4. So I might go ahead, since they're all on Hoopla now, I think, and listen to book 5, and then 6, and then 7 and 8, just as a, kind of to complete that second read, or that reread of the entire series. So that is probably what I will do, and since I can get them all on audio, I will probably listen to one a day. Now, there are several memoirs related to Little House that I'd like to read, and the one I own that I'm going to have to read in print, I can't find this on audio anywhere, is by Melissa Gilbert. It's called Prairie Tale. Now, I did learn from my co-host Lindsay that Melissa Gilbert has written a second book, and it is available on audio on Scribd, but like her, I would like to go in order, so I'm going to read this one first, and I won't plan on getting to the second book this year. Probably save it for next year. I also noticed that she's written a cookbook, so eventually I'd like to read all of those. But for now, I'd like to read this one. This was written, I believe, back in 2008 or 2009. So a lot has changed in her life since then. And then there are some other memoirs that I'd like to read. Since last year, I listened to Alison Arngram's memoir. This year, I'd like to listen to Karen Grassley's book, and I'll put a picture of it here. Sadly, my library does not have a physical copy. I went this morning to try to order it, and it's not there. But they do have it on audio, and it's on Scribd on audio. So if any of you are interested in that, hopefully you can find the audio of it somewhere. I might try to search around online and see about getting myself a physical copy for my own collection. But for now, I'm happy to listen to it on audio. Then there's also a book by Melissa Sue Anderson, who played Mary in Little House on the Prairie. And I mentioned all these books in my announcement video, and I forgot to put pictures up. So hopefully I won't forget that this time, and I'll put up pictures. Then I also mentioned that there is a memoir by the actress who played Miss Beadle, the teacher on Little House on the Prairie. So any of those are fair game. Whatever I can find on audio, I might try to listen to one of those each day as well. And then that will be my audiobooks for those 4 days. Then I have a couple of other print books that I'd like to get to. One of them is I Remember Laura. This is edited by Stephen W. Hines, and this one is definitely doable. The font is large. There's a lot of photos and things like that. So I believe I can get this read during the 4-day period. I also pulled another one off my shelf because this morning I was looking for some inspirational things to read, and I wondered what I might like to read during those 4 days that would be inspirational. Now, this is probably going to take me a little bit longer unless I can get it on audio, which I believe I did find it on Scribd. But anyway, this is not really related to Little House on the Prairie, but you can see by the title why it reminded me of that. This is called Little House on the Freeway by Tim Kimmel. It is a nonfiction book. It's the subtitle is Help for the Hurried Home. And y'all know I love books like this about time management and organization and all of that stuff. So this is definitely going on my TBR, and if I can listen to it, all the better, but I do have this physical copy of it. So I think that's all of the Little House books that I plan to try and get to either during the readathon or just over the course of the month. All right, let me check my list again and see what I want to tell you about next. All right, so one of the other challenges that I'm doing is the Triple Top Treat Readathon, which is a readathon of all 3 Jen McKinley Cozy Mystery series in publication order. So in January, we read the first 2 in the Cupcake Bakery mysteries. Most of the Cupcake Bakery stories are on Hoopla, on audio, and probably on Scribd too. But this month now, we are reading the first in the Library Lovers, and the Library Lovers don't start appearing on Hoopla until about book 10, I think. So those first several, I have to read those in print. And I did start the first one this morning. It's got 27 chapters, so I'm going to try to read, for sure 1 chapter a day and sometimes 2. Some of the chapters are short, and I want to get it done with enough time left in the month that it will be no problem to go ahead then and listen to the 3rd Cupcake mystery, which is Death by the Dozen. So again, I can get this on Scribd, on audio, or on Hoopla, but this one I'm reading in print. So this is Books Can Be Deceiving. I'm going to have to agree with Storm on this. She says she has tried this one and didn't like it. Or I think she said she tried this one, didn't like it as much, but she loves this one. Yeah, this one is great right from the get-go. And I've just read 2 chapters and I'm already loving it. So, I was kind of worried about the hype because so many people have loved it, but they were right. This is, so far, very good. And look at this beautiful cover. That is really neat. So I'm excited about that challenge. And then the other challenge that the Killing Time with Cozy's group is doing that I am participating in is the read-along of all the Southern Sewing Circle mysteries by Elizabeth Lynn Casey. So this month they're reading Death Threads, which is book 2, which I read just a few months ago. So I don't need to pick up with that challenge until March, and I will pick up with book 3. All right, then the ABC challenge. That's a challenge that I believe they have started over again on the Killing Time with Cozy's group, but I'm just continuing because I was doing it, I am doing it in alphabetical order. So I am up to book L, and I am going to be listening to 3 of them this month. The next 3 on my ABC order I can get on audio. So Live and Let Chai is book 1 in the Seaside Cafe Mysteries by Bree Baker. And that's going to be my L. And then my M book, I don't own a physical copy. This is book 2 in the Kate Shackleton Mysteries by Frances Brody. I have book 7, A Death in the Dales, and I'm trying to work my way up to it, but I have listened to the first one. So the second one starts with M. I believe it's A Medal for Murder, and so I want to listen to that one. And then for N, I can pick right back up with the Seaside Cafe Mysteries because book 2 is No Good Tea Goes Unpunished. So then the next one I need to read is going to be in print, and so I will save that and hopefully be able to fit it in March for March Mystery Madness. And then, let's see, what's next? For my Serious About Series or SAS list, I am really focusing right now on finishing up the Quilting Mysteries, or not mysteries, the Quilts of Love series, which is a Christian romance series by multiple authors. I did listen to 2 of those in January, and I believe I got through 13. So I probably won't get more than 3 done. I was hoping maybe I could get to this one. The next one that I own is number 16, Maybelle and Stitches. They're all on Audible Plus, except for the last 4, and I'm still a long way from there because there's 25 total in the series. So 2, 3, 4, that'll be my goal for getting those progressing in that series for the month of February. And then, let's save my TBR jars for last. So for my devotional and inspirational reading, I already did mention one Christian book that is sort of related to Little House. I am reading a Journey magazine, as I usually do. And so I was looking on my shelf over here last night, just kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to read. And these are the 2 that I settled on. So I'm going to try to get this one done before the Little House Readathon starts. And then the other one I will read after it's over. But this, I thought, was a Christian book of poetry, but it maybe is and isn't, maybe not completely. I don't know. The jury's still out on it, but it's a very old book that I found at a library sale that I thought looked interesting, and I probably will eventually end up listing it in my eBay store, but it is called The Harvesters by Gertrude Ryder Bennett, and it's just very interesting. It's very earthy. I had in my head what I was going to tell you about it, and that's all flown out the window. But it could be a little bit dark and depressing. There's a lot of kind of circle of life sort of things. In fact, the title poem that is called The Harvesters talks about this farm where the farmer has died, but yet the crops are still being harvested. And the harvesters are the deer, the porcupine, and the squirrels, and the bugs, and things like that. So, like I said, it's kind of that whole circle of life sort of thing. Anyway, I'm going to keep reading it. It's just, a short book of poetry, and I'm not a big poetry reader, but I did read a book of poetry in January that was written by Ruth Bell Graham, and now I'm reading this one. Maybe I'll scrounge my shelves for other poetry books that I haven't read, and maybe try to read one a month. I don't know. Maybe I'll turn into a poetry reader. I doubt it, but we shall see. Anyway, this is an interesting book, and it was published in 1967, so it's actually not as old as I am. All right, another read-along that I have been doing is the Follow Us to Fair Acre read-along that is hosted by Kate Howe, and occasionally I get to appear on her live stream discussions. So for February, we are reading Emily Davis, which is book 8 in the Fair Acre series. So this is another book I'm going to have to read in print because I don't have access to an audio version of it. And then for my Newbery challenge, I'm trying to finish reading all of the Newbery winners, and since I have several other books in print for various challenges, I picked the shortest one on my shelf of the 1930s, and that is The Cat Who Went to Heaven by Elizabeth Coatsworth. This is less than 100 pages, and it also has some full page illustrations, so hopefully this won't take me very long, and I'll be able to squeeze it in without any problem and still be able to check off one more Newbery winner for the month. And then book club. So I have not yet finished one of my book club books for January. It is The Many Daughters of Afong Moy by Jamie Ford. I just kind of got stuck in this one because I couldn't yet get it on a digital audio. I am on hold for it, and then I accidentally suspended the hold when it came available, and then I accidentally borrowed an ebook, and so I had to reorder the audiobook. So anyway, I have it on CD, and I did listen to probably about a third of it on CD, but I haven't been able to finish it yet. So the good news on that front is that we are car shopping right now for a different car for me. And right now we're looking at a 2014 Ford Explorer. I don't know if that one's going to pan out or not. We're waiting on a mechanic to look at it and get that report. But it does have a CD player. So I will be able to go back to listening to CDs in my car, which will be great. I will love that. Also carried over 2 other books that I'm reading in print. One of them is, of course, World Without End by Ken Follett. I did really good on this. I'm pretty sure I am way farther along in this book than I was at this time of the year last year with Pillars of the Earth. I've read about 170 pages so far, which is the first 2 parts. So I started part 3 this morning, and that is only, I'm only at about 17%. So I had originally hoped maybe I could get half of it done in January and the other half in February. That's not going to happen, but still I'm much farther along than I was with the other one at this point last year. So even if I put it on hold in March, April, and May and pick it back up in June, I will probably finish it by then. Or I might be so engrossed in the story that I will just continue reading a little bit along all throughout all of those other readathon months. Anyway, very much enjoying it. If you've read Pillars of the Earth and you have not picked this up, I highly recommend it. So far, so good. It is very compelling. And then the other book that I am carrying over is a book I'm reading with my daughter for her devotion time. And we had read the VeggieTales Devos the last 2 years, and I didn't really want to read that one again for a 3rd year in a row. So I looked on her shelf to see what else she had that we might be able to just read a little bit along each day. This is not going to take us, more than a couple of months, and we are actually over half done with it already. But this is the Beginner's Bible, Timeless Children's Stories. These are just all of the Bible stories, and they are at least all of the ones, that, you might study in Sunday school and everything. It's very watered down. They leave out a lot of the harder to understand stuff. It's very kid appropriate, but still she's enjoying it. I'm enjoying reading it, and once we get done with this, I'm not sure what we will read together, but I don't know. We shall see. All right, so those were the 3 things that I carried over. So now for book club for the month of February, I need to read The Maid by Nita Prose. Don't know anything about it, and I am waiting for it on Hoopla. I think I'm the next in line. It's a flex borrow, which means those are the books you have to wait for as opposed to the instant borrows that you can just get whenever you want them. And then I have on the CD The Last House on the Street by Diane Chamberlain. I don't know anything about this one either. I'm not even sure which one of these is for mystery and which one is for the literati book club. I don't know. I just know I have 2 book clubs and I need to read both of those. Okay, so let's draw from my TBR jar. Before I get started with that, though, let me just mention that there were 2 books I drew out that are going back in the jar. I did not get to them. One of them is the last series I drew out of my series jar. This is the Goodbye Girls series by Josie Bell. I only own the first one, but there's 5 or 6 in the series, and I just decided I would put it back in the jar and save it for a time when I could go ahead and listen to all of them in the same month. So that has been put back in the jar. And then I kind of forgot that I had drawn out Voices in Summer by Rosamund Pilcher out of my standalone jar. And now when I say jar, they're not really actual jars, they're containers. They're all different. You'll see in a minute. But anyway, I kind of forgot about it until today. So this is going back in the container as well. All right. So first, let's do a nonfiction draw out of this vase. It has worked out so far. I drew 2 out of here in January, and both of them were books I could get on audio. So I was able to get both of those done, which was great. Not even close to all of them in that box are books I can get on audio. There's some really random, obscure stuff in there. So I'm not holding out any hope that that'll keep happening, but we shall see. All right, so, this is one I think I started a long time ago, and I never finished it. So and I think it's one that my husband has read also. It's called Traveling While Married. So I will go get that in just a second and show you. But let me go ahead and just do all the drawing, and then I can go get all the books to show you at the same time. So this is my series, a little library cup here. I got this cup because one of our librarians was, they were getting rid of it. They were going to give it to the thrift store. And it was back when I was volunteering more at the library. There was a whole bag of cups. Someone had cleaned out the kitchen. So I volunteered to take the cups to the thrift store, and I kept this one. But I did give a donation to the thrift store in place of this, rather than, risk it going there and then me not finding it, because I really wanted this cup. So, that's the story of that cup. All right. So, oh, good. This is one that I have already read the first one of, and it is, I think, a YA trilogy by Elizabeth Linhard called Chicks with Sticks, and I had the first one on my BookTube spin list, and it got chosen, so I have already listened to it. I think only book 1 and 2 are on Hoopla. I'm not sure if book 3 is, so I don't know if I'll be able to finish it or not, but I only own the first 2 books, so if I can go ahead and finish that second book, then I can unhaul those. Okay, since that series only has one more book that I can listen to on audio, I am going to go ahead and draw out another one out of here, because I am sure that I can get to more audiobooks than that. All right, so my other series is the Handcrafted Mysteries by Holly Quinn. I'm not sure how many of those there are. I only own the first one of those, so, if I can get more than just the first one on audio, I will probably go ahead and listen to them if I like it. Okay, so now let's draw out a standalone or two. Let's see what I get. All right, I have Still Alice by Lisa Genova. I've heard pretty good things about that, but I don't know anything about it. I think I'm just going to draw out one from this batch and not draw out any more, because I did last month draw out the Avalon Ladies Scrapbooking Society by Darian G, and I didn't get to it, but I already had it borrowed on Hoopla. So I started it today, and so rather than put it back in the jar, I'm just going to go ahead and listen to this one, and I don't really need to draw out 2 more, since I've got that one and one more now to read. So let me go and gather these books up, and I will show them to you. Okay, I'm back. I hope I remember everything I was talking about, because I had to go plug my phone in while I was looking for the books, and then I got a phone call, and so it's been a few minutes since I turned the camera off. But so for my nonfiction book that I drew out of the first jar, I drew Traveling While Married. It's by Mary Lou Wiseman, and it's just a little book, and I opened it up, and I did find a bookmark on page 8, so I didn't get very far, but I thought I remembered that I had started it. So, I'm going to have to read it in print. I did look it up. This author does have an audiobook on Hoopla, but not this one. The ebook is available, but I don't need the ebook. I've got the physical book. Anyway, I'll have to read it in print, and I've got already a lot, according to my restrictions that I have imposed on myself. I may not get to this one in February, but if I don't, it can go back in the jar, or if I start it and want to carry it over into next month, that's fine too. All right, so then for standalones, I drew out one. Like I said, I'm still listening to the Avalon Ladies Scrapbooking Society by Darian G. By the way, this is, for all intents and purposes, a sequel to the Amish Friendship Bread, which is a book I listened to last year or year before. And I didn't know if they were going to be related, but they are. A lot of the same characters, and this definitely takes place after that one. All right, so Still Alice by Lisa Genova. Someone gave me this book. I don't know anything about it, but I can get it on audio, so I am looking forward to giving it a try. And then for series, I may come back and draw out some more, because I really don't have a lot here to listen to as far as series. But the first thing I drew out was Chicks with Sticks by Elizabeth Linhard. I have listened to the first one already, which is called It's a Pearl Thing. And then book 2 is called Knit 2 Together. I can't remember what book 3 is called. I don't know if I'll be able to find a copy of book 3, but I will go ahead and listen to book 2 while I've got it. And then the second series I drew out is the Handcrafted Mysteries by Holly Quinn. This first one is A Crafter Knits a Clue. Now, I looked these up. There's only 3 of these, so I will definitely plan on listening to all 3 of them. But the covers that I saw when I looked up this series are so much cuter than this one. This one's kind of depressing. Even though I love this color, not on a cozy mystery. Anyway, this is the only one I have, and this is the edition I have, so this is what you get for right now. But if you do look up the series, you'll see that the covers that are shown are super cute and much brighter colors than that book. Okay, so that is it. I did realize I had one more book in my boxes here that I did not show you. I'm pretty sure I can get this on audio. It was one of the ones I pulled out of my inspirational shelf, and because I'm already going to be listening to some other Debbie Maycomber books, I thought I would go ahead and just keep this in the pile of possibilities. This is a nonfiction called God's Guest List, and the subtitle is Welcoming Those Who Influence Our Lives. And again, it's not long, and I can get it on audio, so I may go ahead and include this in my audiobook selections for the month of February. And that is it. That is everything as of right now that I plan to read or listen to in the month of February. Let me know if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them, or let me know what you are reading in February. Are you participating in the Little House Readathon or the Retro Romance Readathon? Or are you participating in the Triple Top Treat Readathon, which is, or Read Along, which is our Jen McKinley Read Along. So let me know in the comments, and I will talk to you soon. I hope you are having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.